the final video now on how to sketch quartics and cubics. So let's just check what kind of graph we have here first. We have an x times an x times an x, but we need to be a little bit careful. This factor here is in fact squared. So we'd have x squared times x times x. This is a quartic. So we know the kind of shape that we're thinking of. It's a positive quartic. Everything there is positive. So it's going to look something like that. Now we just need to identify our roots and our y-intercept. So looking at our roots first of all, we're going to have one root at -4, another root at -1, and then this root here, it is at 2, but we in fact have two roots at 2 there. We'll discuss how we're going to draw that in just a moment. We'll then look at our y-intercept, so we set x to 0, and we've got 4 times 1 times -2 squared. So that's going to be a 4 again. So we should get a y-intercept of 16. Like we said, large but negative values will still be positive, large but positive values will still be positive. So now we're going to finish up there, start up here, and we join the dots. We're coming to this repeated root now. We call it a repeated root because it is there twice. We know that we need to hit this point here, but that we need to finish up there. That gives us a hint as to the behaviour of a repeated root. What happens is we just hit that point, touch it, and then we bounce back off. If we think about that, we have seen that before. When we sketch y equals x squared, again thinking of that x as a factor where we have x minus 0 squared, we need to sketch that as our standard parabola, seeing it bounce off x equals 0. Okay, so that's how we're going to deal with a repeated root. It just tells you that you touch it, but then you bounce back up. Okay, let's have a look at another one that's similar. So again, we've got a quartic because it's cubed. Notice, however, here that it's going to be a negative quartic because one of our x terms is negative. So again, we're going to look at the roots. We've got x plus 2, one root at -2, one root at +3, and then this one is going to have a root at 1/2. And that will be our repeated root. Maybe you just want to draw a little line there to remind you not to pass through. And now we're going to check our y-intercept. So we've got 2 times 3. Remember, it doesn't matter that the x is behind it here. X is 0 when we're looking at the y-intercept. 2 times 3 is 6 times 1 minus 1 squared. So that is still positive 6. Okay, now we remember that we've got a negative quartic, so a negative number to the power of 4 would be positive, but for that extra negative. So it becomes negative again. So we're going to start here, pass through the 6. So I think that should look more like that. Repeated root there, so we don't pass through, we just touch. And then we do pass through the 2 again. So that's the kind of shape we're looking for. Flipped quartic, repeated root, y-intercept, x-intercepts. If you didn't spot it was a negative quartic, you would have struggled when you came down from here to pass through there, have your repeated root, and get the positive 6 y-intercept. Like we said, as soon as you realise your y-intercept is wrong, you've got a couple of possible errors. You may have sign errors on your roots, you may have a sign error on your y-intercept, or you may have misidentified the nature of your quartic or cubic. Maybe it's a positive quartic and you drew a negative, or vice versa. you can apply the same ideas that we've met here to draw quintics to the power 6 to the power 7. As long as it's factorised, you apply exactly the same techniques, you'll just have more turning going on.